They didn't need wires, they didn't need machines, they just needed your voice. No one told you your words were spells, that every "I'm tired," every "I can't," every "this always happens to me" was a command, not just to the universe but to your own subconscious. And your subconscious? It doesn't argue, it doesn't fact-check, it obeys, it listens for repetition, tone, emotion. It takes what you say and makes it your reality. This is how they got in. Through songs you repeat without noticing, through phrases you picked up as a kid, through media, headlines, voices you trust. They didn't hack your mind, they taught you how to do it to yourself. And now, you're running programs you never installed, programs that sound like, "I'll never be enough." Life is hard. Love hurts. People always leave. The words aren't just words. They are code, spoken loops, emotional passwords. And the more you say them, the deeper they write themselves into the script you live out. But here's the truth. If words can program pain, they can also set you free. Listen to the language around you. People don't say, "I'm healing." They say, "I'm broken." They don't say, "I'm learning." They say, "I messed up again." That's not accidental. That's conditioning. Language is the softest weapon. It doesn't cut the skin. It reshapes the mind. From birth, you were surrounded by phrases designed to shrink you. That's just how life is. Don't get your hopes up. Money doesn't grow on trees. Love is never easy. The world doesn't owe you anything. They sound normal, harmless even. But that's the trap. Because repetition creates truth, not objective truth, but felt truth. And your subconscious lives off what feels real. So these phrases become part of your operating system. You repeat them, you believe them, and you start creating from them. You were hypnotized, not by swinging clocks, but by normalized despair. And they knew if they controlled the language, they'd never have to control the person. You'd do it yourself, willingly, automatically, unless you become aware of what you're saying, unless you begin to speak on purpose, not just with positivity, but with precision. There's a voice inside you. But have you ever questioned where it came from? It says things like, "You're not good enough. You should have known better. You always screw it up." But pause. Who said it first? That voice sounds like you now. But it didn't start there. It started with a parent, a teacher, a coach, a religion, a system. You heard it so many times, your brain made it familiar. And your subconscious? It worships the familiar. So now, when you try to rise, that voice pulls you back. Not because it hates you, but because it believes it's keeping you safe. Safe from embarrassment, safe from rejection, safe from standing out. The subconscious doesn't care about growth. It cares about consistency. And your language is the thread that holds your identity in place, even when that identity is full of pain. This is why affirmations don't work for everyone. Because you're trying to say, "I am powerful," on top of a lifetime of, "I am not enough." It's not about saying new words. It's about removing the ones you inherited without consent. Only then can the voice become your own again. Your subconscious isn't just in your mind, it's in your body. Every time you say, "I'm exhausted," your posture responds, your cells adjust, your breath shortens. When you say, "Nothing ever works out," your heart rate shifts, your nervous system prepares for failure before anything even happens. Your words create chemistry, they signal hormones, they generate frequencies, because to your body, language is vibration, not logic. It doesn't care if you were just joking. It doesn't care if you didn't mean it. It only cares about the signal you're sending. So when you say things like, "I'm sick of this," "I can't take it anymore," "This always happens to me," your body believes you, and it starts to create the conditions to match your declarations. You're not just speaking, you're casting. Each word is a signal, each sentence a spell, each story a script that your nervous system memorizes and plays out on loop. But here's the shift. You can speak to your body like a child, gently, reassuringly, with repetition and calm. Try. We're safe now. We're learning how to hold joy. We don't need the pain to grow anymore. Speak it, feel it. Let the body listen, because once the body trusts the new words, the subconscious follows. You're not just speaking your words, you're echoing the collective spell. Every culture has its mantras, phrases that get passed down generation to generation like sacred curses. Life's a struggle. You have to suffer to succeed. Love always ends in pain. Trust no one. Good things never last. You've heard them from strangers, in songs, in stories, in casual conversation. And over time, you started saying them too. Not because you believed them, but because they were familiar. That's how the loop spreads. It's viral, it's emotional, it's energetic. And the collective subconscious? It's loud. If you're not aware, you get pulled in. You match the energy. You lower your frequency to stay relatable. Because speaking power, truth, abundance, joy often gets met with suspicion. You're too much. Don't be so full of yourself. Who do you think you are? So you shrink, you adapt, you memorize the language of limitation just to belong. But fitting in with the collective is not worth dimming your inner world. You're not here to echo the code, you're here to rewrite it. You don't fight the old code, you overwrite it. Not with fake positivity, not with forced affirmations, but with language that your body and mind can begin to trust. Start simple. Instead of "I'm broken," say "I'm becoming." Instead of "I always mess up," say "I'm learning how to respond differently." These aren't lies. They're bridges. Your subconscious doesn't need hype. It needs consistency. It needs you to show up and speak the new code daily, even when you don't feel it yet. Why? Because repetition is the language of the subconscious. Not intensity, not volume. Repetition. Every time you say, "I'm safe," you build a new neural path. Every time you whisper, "I'm allowed to feel peace," you rewire the loop. Every time you pause and choose a higher word, you shift timelines. This is real magic. Not in a book, not in a temple, but on your tongue. You've cast the old spells long enough. Now it's time to speak your freedom into form. You're not the only one listening when you speak. Every time you say, "Life is cruel, people suck, nothing ever works out," someone near you hears it. And if they're vulnerable, they absorb it. Words don't stop at your lips. They ripple, they vibrate, they imprint. Children especially, friends, partners, even strangers. You think you're just venting, but you might be casting a spell on someone else's hope. This is how pain gets passed down, not just through genetics or behavior, but through language. Whole bloodlines built on, "We're not meant for wealth." Love never lasts in this family. We just have bad luck. And it's not malicious. It's unconscious. It's habitual. But here's the power. You can break that lineage with a new sentence. You can be the first one to say, "We're not broken. We're allowed to heal. We don't carry what isn't ours anymore." When you speak truth into someone who has only known survival, you don't just shift their mindset, you shift their energy body. You become a transmitter, not of noise, but of remembrance. Words are contagious, so choose the ones worth spreading. There's a moment, after all the noise, all the repeating scripts, all the hand-me-down beliefs, where something strange happens. You stop speaking, not out of fear, out of awareness. You realize most of your words weren't really yours. They were echoes, auto-responses, programs. And when you finally get quiet, you hear the original signal, not the conditioned voice, the inner one, the one that speaks with no fear, no shame, no scarcity. It doesn't shout, it knows. In that silence, you don't need affirmations, you don't need mantras, you need to listen. Your true self doesn't need convincing, it needs space. Space to breathe, to speak when it's ready, to choose words that don't serve your survival, but your expansion. This is where the real power begins. not in more talking, but in talking from a place of truth. Language without awareness is a loop. Language with presence is a portal. You've been on autopilot, but now you're awake at the controls. And the silence between your sentences, that's where your future is being written. Now you know. Your voice was never just for communication. It was a wand, a tuning fork, a key. And now that you've stopped echoing the past, you can begin to speak as a creator, not a copy. You don't say "I am" lightly anymore. You don't label yourself casually. You don't describe your pain as if it's your identity. You choose every word, every phrase, every tone, because now you understand the weight of a whisper. You speak with intention, with precision, with presence. And when you speak, the field listens, the body responds, the subconscious aligns. You are not just undoing old programs. You are installing new realities with your breath. No one can hack that. No system can overwrite it. Because this voice, this frequency, was born from your awakening. You've stopped feeding the loop. Now you feed the light. And as you walk forward, you speak not as someone trying to remember, but as someone who finally does.